and I know your council record. Do you mind if I? Okay. Because I want legal services is here. They have an interest in trying to get at least these 48 online and everything. And I'd like to try to deal with the parties to try to see if we can at least get some progress on that issue. So you don't have a problem if you're not here.
You're not.
Why are you looking so happy about it? No, I'm kidding. What'd you say?
I was just going to suggest it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to stand and read. Did she give you? Can you find out for me what we scheduled this, built this in? Just ask her what time breaking. Okay. So we'll read ending at 10:30 and till 1. So I guess it is 1 o'clock. And then we'll come back. But in the interim, while we'll be off the record, well, I'm going to recess to that time, but we're going to be working on trying to get this part done. And then whatever we have to do. Okay.
Scheduled for this afternoon. Do we have a time for that set?
Oh God, yes. I mean, yes, I got. Yes, there are. So what I've done is these cases are the summary proceedings. They're then what I'm calling the affirmative complaints that have been filed. And I was looking at dealing with that in the afternoon. I thought mixing them at this point would not have been a good idea. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do in the interim. How long will it take you to come up with what permits you see for these two buildings, Mr. Moore?
I think we can do it by. Sorry, can I ask?
Sure. You're looking.
Our building permit, be the one going.
Yeah, hour or so.
All right. Do that. Do you have a list of those building permits? Well, you've said there are building permits. You just need to find all of them, right?
Correct. So.
And that's where you guys are.
They need to be final, or there's the discrepancy in the amount that was submitted with it. But as Mr. Myers mentioned, the BSNA website is down. So it's not.
Of course it is.
Well.
No. Okay. So you can't, there are certain things you can't see right now.
Typically, I would be able to go in there and see the permits that have been pulled, but I mean, maybe it's the room, but it's not pulling up for me right now, but I will try during the.
Why she go there? Maybe it's over about your courtroom, Judge. Well, no, you're in trouble. All right. So, let's see if we can get you access to that, or if it is something here, who knows? So that we can at least see what's been pulled and everything. All right. So
it sounds like Mr. Dunn was able to get on.
Okay.
I'm able to access.
You're able to access it? Okay.
The public side.
I'll keep trying. I'm not sure. But it's literally.
Couldn't be the user. Okay. I'm just saying. All right. So court will stand in recess, but the parties don't go too far because I may want to talk with each side as we kind of get through this process. But get a list, get your list, and if you know the one where you've been told that there is a dispute regarding the amount on it, then let's mark those and try to figure out those also. All right.
14A District Court of the County of Washington, State of Michigan, and I back the Honorable Judge Simpson, accepted the charge.
You may. Where are my 10 files? What's my first one in that one? Is it? What's the number? I think 1404. That be the first one? I forget. Court does call the cases of Arbor 1 and Arbor 1 West versus Rico McGuire et al. All of the 36 cases in that regard. I'll also at this time call the case of Annie Marie Griffin versus VIP River Woods LLC, doing business as Arbor 1 Apartments and Beal Properties LLC. Council, state your appearances.
I'll speak to the defendant.
Good afternoon, Deputy Gordon Lehman, as well for the thing.
Your Honor, we have been assisting these tenants, so I believe my name might be attached to this.
Quick thought for you. When paperwork, websites, and communication constantly go missing, do you think it's incompetence or intentional delay? Comment what you think, because the judge is definitely catching a vibe.
This one.
Pardon?
On behalf of Ms. Griffin. Mr. Melly.
Saying, what did you say?
Oh, we assisted several of the tenants in filing, and my name is attached to several of them. And I don't know for sure if this is one of them, but I believe that it is. Okay.
Yes. And then, well, we're gonna have to sort that out in a moment. Go ahead, Council. Did you want to put your appearance on?
Just for the record, the last, but you're calling the affirmative cases, the
Yes.
10 new cases, Travis Gagne, on behalf of Beal Properties LLC.
All right, very good. Okay, let's first of all go back to the summary proceeding cases. Let's go there because we were trying to work out some things. And I guess the first thing I would ask is, did we get to the point of figuring out anything regarding the permits on 720 and 721?
It sounds like yes.
I think everybody has their own list at this point. We have not discussed the list with each other yet. That's the extent of my knowledge at this point.
Okay, so let me just ask so that I can know how I'm going to conduct myself in the future. And I realize there's other circuit court litigation that may be going on, but are the parties having an issue just in terms of these simple things like engaging with each other? Wow, take a breath and then answer, but okay. Yes. Okay, so I mean, and if the court has intervened so that the parties communicate with each other, I'm going to do that. I'm going to, because it doesn't, some of these things don't make any sense. And again, the primary objective, certainly on these cases, is having units that are safe for these individuals to reside in. My understanding is that 720 and 721 are close. I don't know that for sure, but what's been represented. And that there are these certain barriers. And I think we just need to get through those barriers. Let that inspection part take place. Let 720 and 721. If they're going to proceed forth, let them proceed forth. And let's try to get these 48 units back online. That's the court's perspective. So everybody should probably govern themselves accordingly. But if I've got to be the one to help you govern yourselves, then I'll do that. All right. So we had how many permits? Let me ask the city, how many more, if you could come up to the podium here at least, how many more permits are we looking at from the city's perspective for those two units?
So I'm on 721 Clark. It appears that unit 102, 103, 105, 107, 206, 302, 303, 304, 720 Green, units 104, 301, 306, and then the common elements for the boiler room and the storage room would need permits.
All right. And the boiler and storage room aren't an issue in 721, or were you saying it was covered?
No, so 721, all of the common element areas, permits have been pulled.
But not for 720.
720 Green, that is correct. We still need
Okay.
permits for the boiler room and the storage.
Can I ask if Mr. Myers, his list for 721 again?
102, we see the need for a building permit and an electrical permit. 103, building permit. 104, 105, electrical permit. 107, building permit. 206, mechanical and electric permit. I do speak fast, so I can slow down.
Yes.
Sorry. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm good after 206.
I'm not, can you repeat 206? Sorry.
206, we need mechanical and electrical permits. We need 302, building permit. 303, building permit. 304, building permit. 306, sorry, I'm probably going a little fast again.
306.
306, building permit, mechanical permit, and electrical permit. And 308, electrical permit.
What did you need for 105
105 needs an electrical permit,
and 103?
building permit. Then we also need all the permits to actually have their, in some cases, rough inspections, in some cases, final inspections.
Got it.
And do you want me to go through 720?
Yes.
104 needs a building permit. 301 needs a building permit. 306 needs a plumbing permit. And then the common rooms, we need a building permit for the boiler room and the storage room. And those will need to go through plan review.
Plan review, how long is that going to?
It can take up to 10 days. We can try to rush as much as we can. But for commercial buildings, those are typically sent out to a contractor to do.
Is that similar to the list you had, or?
So we have compiled a list of all of the permits that have been pulled
Gotcha,
for each of 2 buildings.
gotcha.
Here's the core issue. The judge wants 48 units back online, but that can't happen until all permits, electrical, mechanical, building, even drywall, are properly pulled and inspected. Basically, no paperwork equals no tenants equals no rent. High stakes for everyone.
So once we have an understanding of the city's contention of what needs to be pulled, you can, I guess, compare that list, and see if, make sure that there's no discrepancies on what they believe needs to be pulled. But we have a list showing that 35 permits have been pulled for 720 Green and 49 have been pulled for 720 West Clark. So those are the numbers that we came up with based on the BSNA website.
From that website, because Mr. Meyer broke it down by unit. From that website, are we going to be able to tell what units?
For the most part, yes. Sometimes when they pull a permit not for the unit, which most of the permits are pulled by unit, you have to go into some of the detail. But
Okay,
for the most part, each permit is assigned to each unit.
got it.
So it depends on how the permit was pulled.
So just on a brief scan, and I realize you haven't had a chance to go through it. I mean, does it look like the list match, don't match, are close?
Right, so just of the brief scan of 721 for unit 102, 105, 206, 303, and 306, we have that permits have been pulled for those units. So I think we would have to look at exactly what the city is saying permit is being used for, if there's understanding that there's more work that needs to be done, and a permit needs to be pulled for, and I think that's the discussion we need to have, but for some of these, we're seeing permits are pulled, so I guess that's what the.
But are they the permit and, well, let me ask this, are they the type of permit that would need to be pulled for that?
The list in front of me
Oh,
of all the permits pulled. And so for 102, we have a mechanical and electrical permit for the bath fan, but not the drywall permit when you actually install a new bath fan. So that's where 2 permits were pulled, but the drywall permit was not done. And that's why we indicated that a building permit would be needed. And I do have an electrical permit in there due to some of the other electrical needs in the unit, not for the bath fan.
I think it would be helpful as well, just as Mr. Myers said just now, as he said, okay, we need a building permit, and he just said we need it for drywall. So, him telling us that we need a building permit or something, I think that could apply for a variety of different things. So, telling us
correct.
what we need a permit for would be helpful. If you say we need a building permit for drywall, we'll do that, as opposed to kind of leaving us to guess as to what exactly their intent is. And trying to be clear, let's just all clear. So.
No, I got it. That makes some sense to the court. All right. So what I'm going to do is everybody hold on to that. I'm going to stop Mr. Myers' testimony at this point because I want to focus on these 2 buildings right now to see where we can get with this. Now, I'm saying a big if because I haven't asked this, but if there were about the 63,000 that the landlord would pay over to the city. Okay, let's say that were paid over. Is the city in a position, I guess, number one, to take the monies?
So
then, go ahead.
no, so just to have further clarification on that, because I spoke to Mr. Dunham on the way. The problem we've had with taking a lump sum check and trying to divide it is we've had complaints from the property manager on dividing it, not how they wanted us to divide it. Because when we get a big check, we divide it per a building. And so that is why we have asked for a detailed list of what these fees are for, so we can apply it how they want, so then they don't complain later. As far as, I just also want to reiterate that we have had several meetings with the property manager and their staff about what permits would be needed, several. And every time they say, okay, and the permits never actually get pulled. And so this is not the first time we have heard this, but we've also had at least 5 separate meetings talking about the permits needing to be pulled. But if they turned over a check for $60,000 to the city for these 2 buildings, we would just ask that if there's money left over, what buildings they would want it applied to after that.
Your Honor, from the standpoint that it gives everybody an incentive to clear up those issues as to where it gets allocated. Everybody has an incentive, including the city, to clear up those issues as opposed to stonewalling. Not that I would ever accuse them of doing that, but I think that it might be helpful if that money was in escrow.
Yeah, we want to move this forward as well. I don't know, Mr. Myers' testimony, there's been several meetings. We've asked for meetings. We've been told to put our questions in writing, and, that doesn't seem like it's going to get us anywhere. Because obviously we don't know what we don't know. So we can't put questions in writing until we get some clarification from the city. So we're not opposed to, the court entering some sort of order where, everybody's got a stake in getting some of these things done. We're not opposed to some sort of order from the court, requiring that the parties sit down and discuss some of these issues. Because I think once we're able to do that, a lot of this stuff could be moved along. But
well, I would, just in listening today, I would love to believe that if I ordered the parties to sit down and to come up with something that would happen. I have this weird feeling, and usually I'm right when I have that feeling, that if the parties were to sit down, there'd be some dispute that would bring this to a screeching halt over something that I'm not sure makes much sense for it to halt over. So, into escrow. That way, the city, I think, has some assurance that it would, when Mr. Meyer, you were talking about some, almost sort of some good faith thing. And I'm using those words, but I'm not saying that everybody's not operating in good faith, but I think it's just the money will be there. It won't be released until either the court orders and other parties can agree how it's going to be placed and what it's for specifically. If it's for the 20% penalty portion, that's it. But as counsel,
Just to have further
Alright,
clarification on
major
that,
shift
because I
coming
spoke to
up.
Mr. Dunham on the way.
judge is now
The
talking
problem we've
about
had with taking a lump sum check and
$63,000,
trying to
money
divide
that
it
could
is we've had
instantly push
complaints
this
from the
whole
property
situation
manager on
forward.
dividing it,
But
not
here's
how
the
they
twist.
wanted us to
The
divide it.
city and
Because
the
when we get a
landlord
big
can't
check, we
even
divide
agree
it
on how to
how,
divide
like,
the check.
per building.
This is where
And so
legal
that is why
drama
we've
turns into a
asked for a detailed
Sudoku
list of
puzzle.
what these.
brought up, and I'm not sure what I do with it, but if they submitted a check, but then the check was rejected, should they really be subject to the 20%? You know, it's those kinds of things that I would fear that the parties, once they got to that, aren't going to be able to get past. Because I think each side is going to be locked where they are. Just my opinion, just listening from today, that's what will happen. So just in terms of scheduling wise, if they, again, I'm going to speak in sort of a hypothetical, but if they got this money to us, say tomorrow, they then pull the permits, say by tomorrow, Wednesday, or pay for the permits, pull the permits by say latest Wednesday. What time frame are we looking at that would be needed to accomplish the work or do the inspections, however, or just schedule?
So from our side, it's my understanding that barring one particular issue, which is fire doors on the building, these buildings could be ready for a reinspection by May 6th, except for these fire doors, which have to be manufactured, and 11 of them are a very particular door. That pushes it back to May 19th. So if the city was willing to do something temporary, a temporary CFC pending those doors and come out on the 6th, like we would be open to that. But if they want everything all in all, including those doors, the doors will not be manufactured until the 19th. Not a normal door. My understanding is something that's never really been asked of before, so we gotta get it made. There's 11 of them. So that would be the timeline we would be under.
So,
From the property management team's perspective, they have questions. And, I think today has been some of the most progress we've had in getting some answers to particular things. And while I know that there may be some things that the parties may come to a head on, having answers to specific things of how the city wants work done, what they want done, is only going to allow us to get the work done. So I would, again, urge the court, if you are inclined, to order parties to sit down and flesh out some of these issues beforehand. Because they don't want to be fleshing it out in an inspection and saying, oh, this is what we wanted, or this is how we want it. Let's get these things resolved now, early. So when that inspection day comes, we've got, let's go into this.
so you're looking at basically the third week in May for everything, including the doors. But here I guess is my issue. The doors have to be made, they then have to be shipped and then installed. Is that date you're giving me? Is that like the order date and then the doors are gonna sit there for a minute while we try to figure out how to get them installed, or?
It sounds like they get here on the 9th. And
On the 9th?
Yes, and they need to install them within a week. And so like I said, it's 11 doors, they're 5. I don't know what all with installing a fire door, but the property management team says they need to install all of those doors. And that was where we get to.
So that that would be the 16th if they get here on the 9th. Let's say they're delayed and it's the 12th, then it would be the 19th.
So that was the day they told us that they could have all of that squared
The
away.
19th? Okay, that kind of makes sense, gives them through the weekend on, I get it. Okay. So it's anticipated then on the 19th that all work could be done?
That's the plan. All work would be done. Yes, it's service meetings on the 19th.
All right. From the city's perspective,
We still have permits that were pulled on February 12th that haven't had an initial rough inspection yet. And so it all depends on how quickly they get the work done and finalize the permits that we have outstanding. And so it's really hard for us to say, yes, we can do this when we are at the whim of them finishing the work, starting the work, calling for a rough inspection, finishing the work, calling for a final inspection, and then we could actually certify the building. That's why it's been important for us, and we have asked them to pull the permits on several different occasions.
okay, let's do this. They pulled the permits by Wednesday. How soon can the rough inspections be done?
It depends on what unit and when and the schedule. So we looked at about 60 inspections that have to take place, Judge, in between now and when this is all final. Probably a little bit more than that. And so we have 6 inspections a day that our inspectors can do. And so we inspect 3 days a week.